Hello everyone, Shirley here. Today we're going to be taking a look at Fury's single target rotation in the pre-patch 8.0. Sorry this video is about a week late, some things have came up, haven't been feeling too well, but we're gonna get it done regardless. Anyway, jumping right in, we're going to be looking at the talents, rotation for single targets, and what gear we should be wearing as Fury today. So, first things first, now that you can buy legendaries, you're going to want to get yourself the helmet, which gains 8 enrage whenever you enrage, and the pants, which is rampage critical strikes, generate 6 rage. This is going to be feeding us a ton of rage with tier 21 that's going to allow us to pour a bunch of damage into rampage because of the set bonus. This will probably change a little bit at 120, but for right now, these are the two things that we're going to be stacking together. Real quick, trinkets-wise, if you can get yourself a Scourge Wing, I would highly recommend it. It's really good for Fury right now, and Khazgroth, as usual, is fine. Stats, we're going to be taking a look. It's a lot like arms, really. You want to just stack a bunch of crit, haste probably second, and mastery is not very good, so crit, haste, first, strength, all that's about the same. You just want to get more crit than anything at the moment. Don't worry about it too much right now. That's about it for gear. Going over the talents. This is the single target build for tier 21 right now, as long as you've got these two items, that is. You could swap out one or two things. We'll go over it real quick here. Endless Rage. You're going to gain 6 rage whenever you enrage. This is great because every time you press Rampage, you're going to enrage. And it's going to stack with these two things to gain rage, obviously. So this just feeds into itself so you can Rampage as much as possible. It just synergizes better than either of these two talents right now. Fresh Meat is pretty good for PvP right now because of the heal bonus, and you can stack that with Furious Charge, but that's time for another video. But the second row, Double Time, is still the go-to because you're getting more rage generation off this because it goes really well with Bounding Stride in this row, so you can leap out, get some more rage if you need it. The 45 talent row, Inner Rage is okay. It's not too great, but if you just don't want to think about your talents, Inner Rage is still that go-to. Sudden Death and Furious Slash are extremely close right now for single target DPS. I would highly recommend Sudden Death though, because for one, it's just more fun in my opinion. And Furious Slash, if you're doing certain fights where you lose any sort of uptime and this buff falls off, it's not really worth taking over Sudden Death. So I would just stick with Sudden Death for now. It's a lot of fun, and you can even min-max the talent, making sure that you're enraged all the time when you get your execute proc to get that extra damage out of it. Really satisfying talent to use. The 75 row, Carnage is pretty much the only option right now. Massacre isn't as powerful for Fury as it is for Arms, just because of the cooldown on execute. Frothing the Berserker, I love it on the beta, and at 120, I could see us using this, but for right now, Carnage is the go-to because of the set bonus and the synergy we have with the two legendaries. So you can just Rampage all the time. It's going to do a ton of damage. The 90 talent row here, pretty much AoE, except for Dragon Roar. Dragon Roar and Bladestorm are both, okay for single target, but I like Dragon Roar better because it's going to pad out the rotation just a little bit better since it only has a 35-second cooldown, and it only costs 1 global to cast rather than waiting for the channel. It just depends on which one you want to use. Dragon Roar is definitely what I would recommend for single target though right now. The 100 talent row, this will change all the time depending on if you're PvPing or Mythic Plus probably, but for pure single target, DPS Anger Management is the go-to because you're going to be feeding so much rage into Rampage and just spending a ton of it that you're going to get your Recklessness cooldown back up really fast. So Anger Management's the go-to talent for that. Reckless Abandon I still really like for PvP right now just because that on-demand burst is so valuable basically. And Siegebreaker's great for everything as well. You could do this in Mythic Plus, you can cleave this and then go with like a Bladestorm or something. So try out these two talents if you're lacking AoE in some of your groups, but if that's fine, this is the single target build that you'll be running for the most part. Real quick, looking at the PvP talents, Enduring Rage is amazing right now for open world content. With this talent, you basically can have 100% in rage uptime, super valuable. Outside of that, you can pick basically whatever you need. Slaughterhouse is alright, Death Wish is, okay, but Enduring Rage is the only one I really recommend for just throughput right now. So going over the actual rotation, what do you do? So the idea is to cast as many rampages as possible and staying enraged as much as possible. So you're going to be using Recklessness basically on cooldown and then just feeding into as many rampages as you can. So if you're not enraged, first thing is going to be Bloodthirst, which has that % chance to enrage you. And then you want a Raging Blow, obviously, to generate some more rage. But you'll want to keep this ticking around since Raging Blow has 2 charges now. You want to keep one of these on cooldown as much as possible. Don't let 2 charges just sit here. Whirlwind is going to be your just straight up filler when you have nothing else to press. And Dragon Roar is kind of that cooldown filler that we're going to be using. And as long as you're enraged, you can press this basically whenever. It fits really nicely with the Recklessness window, on pull anyway. But afterwards, you don't need to delay this for Recklessness. Just make sure that you're enraged, and then you can go ahead and Dragon Roar whenever you want, basically. So what this is going to look like on pull here is we're going to go in, we're going to pop Wreck, and then we're going to Bloodthirst and Raging Blow and try to get up enough rage to Rampage. Now, if Sudden Death happens to proc on pull or at any point in the fight, save your Sudden Death proc for when you're actually enraged. Now, this can come off of either one of these things, but you get so much rage using this talent setup, you can usually get up to a Rampage pretty fast, so you really shouldn't have to delay it very often, if at all, really. So, going over this real quick, we're going to go in, we're going to pop our Recklessness, we're going to start building up some rage, going to go ahead and pop that, and just every other attack here, basically, is going to be a Rampage. Now, I should have used Dragon Roar after that first one. But that's basically the idea of it. And with this talent right here, it's going to be looking a little bit different on this target dummy right now, because I'm getting this duration increase on my Raging Blow from my Enrage window here. So as you can see, when I get enraged, that talent allows me to stay enraged all the time. So you see it ticking around here, Raging Blow just refreshes it all the time. Got that Sudden Death proc, so you can use it while you're enraged. Obviously, you're not going to have this in an actual raid environment, but the thing, it still plays out the same way. You're just going to have to manage your Sudden Death procs a little bit more, making sure you're enraged, and that's the gist of it. There's not much to it. You could pretty much face roll right now if you want. Like I said, there is going to be a priority system to keep Raging Blow ticking around, so you're using one charge as much as possible. Otherwise, if you're not enraged, then you're going to Bloodthirst is the only real priority here, but frankly, you can press just about whatever you want out of these 3 buttons, you know, when it comes up, and you're going to do all right damage, including Execute, but you just want to min-max that window. So when you come out of Rampage right now, you're going to want to use Raging Blow the most, because it's going to do a little bit more damage than Bloodthirst, and it generates more rage, so especially during Recklessness, you're going to get this nice ebb and flow of basically every other attack you're going to be able to Rampage. So, going over this one more time in real time, so you guys can kind of see what this is going to look like. So we'll charge in, pop our macro, Rampage, use that Sudden Death proc, Rampage, Dragon Roar, Raging Blow, Rampage, Raging Blow, Rampage, Sudden Death proc, Rampage. And as you can see, looking at details right now, like, Fury's burst window potential is absolutely nuts. Now, this is on a 110 target dummy, so obviously you're gonna fall off some after the initial burst, but Fury's doing extremely well right now as far as most melee DPS are concerned, and it's doing a little bit better than ARMS even for just straight up throughput. Does that mean it's better in every situation? No, not necessarily, but for right now, it's great. And my weapon is even a lot lower than my ARMS weapon for Fury, so I'm sitting at 234 and my ARMS weapon's at 253. So even with that difference, my Fury spec is still doing considerably more throughput for single target right now. Anyway, I'm rambling. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about the spec or the rotation, feel free to ask them below. Like I said, it's a very simple, straightforward spec right now. It feels good. It's fast. It's very meaty, I guess, when you actually get that Rampage rolling in the Recklessness window. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.